Welcome to Let's Not Play. Today, we'll be not playing Dragon Age. That's Dragon Age 3. Now, I know it doesn't exist, so we're all in our current state of not playing it, but even after it comes out, we're not going to play it. And we're not going to play it because Dragon Age 2 was just that bad. And what was that bad about Dragon Age 2? Well, everything, right? Everything was bad about Dragon Age 2. From the combat, to the story, to the choices, to the decisions they made, to the characters' genders and sexuality. All of them were wrong. Every step was profane. The game did nothing good. It would have been better if it just crashed the desktop. So first of all, I didn't like Dragon Age 1's combat. I know a lot of people did, but it was kind of like, you know, like, it was too much like MMOs for me. You know, and I had played a lot of MMOs at the time, and I didn't like it. You know, you needed CC, and some of it was fun, but a lot of it wasn't. Fighting the Reverence wasn't. And I was kind of excited for Dragon Age 2, because, you know, you had that fat, shuddering idiot saying, like, you hit a button, you get something awesome. And I'm like, this is great. This is gonna at least play as good as Gothic 1. Right? But it wasn't even as good as Gothic 1, and Gothic 1 had, like, awful plotting action combat. It was the same shit. It was the same exact game. They gave me the same game with a different perspective for console players, and it was nothing actiony about it. There's one fight, you could go look at my video history, it's exactly Slabhide from Cataclysm. It's the same exact fight. And then there's another one where it's a dragon, and it's like a 4-phase fight where, like, he shoots fireballs, and then you go get eggs or something. And, this is just a drag, man. The combat wasn't much better. So then, you've got, like, I mean, everyone was mad about the game. At least, like, most people were. You know, it sure as shit wasn't 9 out of 10 or 10 out of 10 or like it was reviewed. Like, EA does that, and the reviews felt bought. It just felt like took away some reputation for the game, right? So there was that. Then, you know, it barely felt like Dragon Age even. It could have just been Dragon Age Adventures. You're not the Grey Warden. You're not nobody. You're just some dick off the street. You know, you're like Commander Tryhard. Like, who cares? You know, and you could have just. It could have been Neverwinter Nights 2. You know, they could have, which was the generic game Dragon Age was based off of. Sorry if that's like your favorite D&D scenario, but shit, like Shadow People, come on. So, like, the Dragon Age characters from Dragon Age Origins are, like, foisted in just to be like, look, no, this is a Dragon Age game. It very much is, but it's not at all. I mean, there's some neat things, but it's not a real continuation. There's weird stuff, like the Qunari have horns, so it's kind of like, oh, is this, is it like, you know, Star Trek, where, like, the Klingon got head ridges because they got the flu. Blood magic is fine, I guess. I don't know. It seems like the little elf girl is fine with it, but then, you know, there are other people and they completely lose their shit and become insane. Every character is bisexual, which, I mean, it just doesn't happen in real life. I'm not bisexual, but everyone in Dragon Age is. I mean, I have no problem with it. It just bothered me because it felt like it'd be more believable if a character wasn't bi. You know, if a gay character was just gay. I mean, I think that's fine. And they had that problem in Dragon Age. I don't think there were straight characters, and there were bi characters, but there was no strictly gay character. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. The whole idea of the Chantry was, like, really contrived. They wanted to make this about like the whole mage Templar thing, which isn't even an interesting part of Dragon Age. The only standout aspect of Origins was the origin story, and it didn't necessarily involve the Chantry, because, well, the Chantry was kind of fucking boring. They were like just assholes, and it's like, oh, I get it, magic is dangerous, fine, but you didn't need a whole game about it. And that's what this is. It's a whole game of the stupid shit you had in your mage origin story, like for an entire game, and it just doesn't work well at all. You know, and on top of that, so that's what's wrong with the game. It feels like it was either gonna be Dragon Age Adventures, and like EA's like, what are you doing? Name it Dragon Age 2 so we can cash in. Or it was going to be Dragon Age 2 and they needed a few more years, so EA's like, look, just release one city. It's fine. You know, so it was either or. Obviously, I mean, I don't think BioWare's necessarily at fault, but you know, you have to blame someone, so I'm just gonna blame them. The romance is on top of everyone being whatever sexuality suits the player. The romances are kind of like foisted on you, like characters are hitting on you, and you're just the best fucking thing, no matter how you behave. I mean, it's like they just want you, which is a little insulting. Your actions are totally meaningless, and that's the problem with doing the whole Chantry versus Templars thing. Chantry versus Templars, well, you know, I mean, neither side's really bad. They both have reasons for doing what they do. So what's the mature way to write it? Like, well, something complex that goes and measures both reasons these groups have for doing what they're doing? Well, no. Instead, let's just make them both evil and insane. And both groups are evil and insane, and nothing you do matters because you get this, you're foisted into the same ending no matter what. And that's for each arc. Like, first you have the arc where you go on your underground adventure, and if you take your sister or brother with you, they get the fucking darkspawn aids up in them, and right, so they get the darkspawn in them, and you have to go make them a Grey Warden or let them die. Then if you don't take them, they get taken away. If it's your sister, she gets taken to the Chantry, and if it's your brother, he becomes a fucking Nazi, anti-mage, right? Anti-mage. And that's the game, you know, and it repeats over and over again. You can't do anything special when you're in the Darkspawn place. Like, the same story happens no matter what your choice is. And then when you're dealing with the Kunari, who like have horns and shit now, I may have mentioned that already, you've got no choice. You can't be like, oh, I want something else to happen, because the same thing will always happen. The Kunari guy will cut off the Prime Minister's head, because if he doesn't, it wouldn't set you up for the next act, where Meredith and the mage guy are at odds because you've been stuck in a cutscene and Meredith has been like marching mages into a camp. You know, then there's like this whole Frankenmom subplot, which is really awful. Basically, your mother is captured, and of course you can't stop it. You can't stop anything in this game. The game tells you what you're gonna do, and you do it with a smile. She's captured, and then she's taken somewhere, and the guy fucking uses her head in necromantic sex doll. Like, that's really this game. Like, people wonder why I hate this game. I wonder if they played it. Like, that's ridiculous. Who wrote that shit? Like, fucking Christ, you know? Like, not to be like too much of a prude, but that's pretty awful. So okay, and that's just to like make you hate mages. That's all it is. It's like a sympathy ploy. And that's it. It's a sympathy ploy, okay. So you get to, basically that's how the game goes. You go to the underground, you get some gold, and then you get a mansion. and you get the mansion. Then someone's like, look, you've got a mansion. You went into the dark road. Was it called the dark roads? You went into the dark roads and you fought a bunch of dark people, and we need your help with some other, like, they're not quite dark, they're a little like gray, but still. So then you go and help with the Kunari, who are assholes and have absolutely no fair gripe, and no matter what you do to please them, they still chop off some guy's head, like, just because they're shitheads, and like everyone's afraid of them, and like no one just fucking kills them all like a medieval society really would if they had a bunch of fucking like different skin colored people squatting menacingly in their city. And they just cut off the guy's head because it sets up the next plot for there to be a power struggle. Then the power struggle happens. Okay, great. So now what are we gonna do? Huh? What are we gonna do? Well, we've got to solve the power struggle. How do we do that? Well, we kill both sides. Why do we kill both sides? Because both sides are the same. They're both assholes. The Templars are basically the same as the other group of people, and that's it. That's the story. Like, they're exactly the same. You either side with the Templars, and the mage guy is like, look, you know what? I was best buds with the guy who made your mom into a human sex doll, so all mages are evil because the head mage, like, helped turn your mother into a fucking living sex doll. So, okay, you go kill them, because obviously they're the bad guys, right? I mean, fuck, they made your mom into an undead real doll. So you kill them. Great. And then, oh, it turns out the anti-mage thinks, despite, like, your fucking complete obedience, thinks you're the bad guy and flips out because she's got a magic sword, which was foreshadowed a little in the Deep Roads plot, and apparently now is a major plot item. And so it's a major plot item, and it's why she's going crazy, and that's it. So she goes crazy and attacks you and whatever. Okay, so then you have an option of siding with the mages. Okay, well, let's side with the mages. What happens? Well, you're there, and everything's going fine, really. It's perfectly fine. And then the guy's like, well, we can't hold him back. Check this out. And he turns into the same fucking flesh beast he did before. And, alright, great. Like, great. So you fight the same boss, and then you go outside, and she's not like, she doesn't say anything different. She's like, well, you sided with the mages, even though they're obviously all insane, and you probably changed your mind because their lead guy just turned into a monster. No, that doesn't matter. Just she attacks you, and you get the same exact shit, and then you get a slightly different ending cinematic. And there's no, I hate to say choices and consequences because I like a lot of games without choices and consequences. I don't think they're necessary. But this game, they knew what they were doing, and they marketed it on the idea of, you know, it being a little like Origins. It wasn't like Origins at all. It was just a piece of shit. And I don't know how they can make it better in Dragon Age 3. I really don't think they can. I feel like they've lost the touch. They're just, you know, they have their audience, they can pander to it. And, that's all there is to it. You know, and they're going to keep doing that. I don't think it's going to get better in Dragon Age 3 because they're still going to want it to play on a console, right? And, that's all there is to it. You know, they're gonna want it. They're gonna want it to play on a console, and it's not gonna play on a console at all. I mean, it'll have to be the same sort of combat, and it won't be good. I mean, maybe it'll play like Dark Souls. That would be great, but it won't. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Just don't play Dragon Age 3. You know. Like, I have to do these things to help you, but let's together create a support group where we won't even try it, because it's awful. It's just, just awful. And it's never gonna get better. Nothing is gonna get better. Ever. I don't think I can beat this. I kind of wanted to keep going until I beat it, and that would be the end of the video, but... Oh, there's the trick. Ha! Ha! Fuck this game. Good night.